Good afternoon, everyone. It is the 9th of August, Saturday, 2025. And I've come down to the coast around Dover because I would like to see if I could find the Choughs. They've been reintroduced and they were released from Dover Castle, and they've made the news recently because the first fledgling, the first chick, wild chick, has been born. And I'm come to see if I can find it and do a vlog on it and also do some podcasting. So the first stop is I've just come to the country park, Samphire, and it's in front of the white cliffs, not the pure. If you come to Samphire, the cliffs aren't pure white at this particular bit. I'd say looking at it, it's about 70% grass and bushes coming down, as well as the chalk white cliffs. Off to my left, as I look out to sea, there's the port, very busy port. When you come along the M20, do be aware that trucks line up. It's not traffic, it's not as traffic in the conventional sense, it's traffic for to get on the ferries. So it builds over time. So some drivers, there was a French driver in front of me who was a bit panicked and started slowing right down, wondering why all the vehicles were stopping. And it was just, lorries lining up to get back over to the continent. So why have I come here? I've just popped in here to see if anything's happening. It's very windy. I'd say this is like a good 18 to 20 miles an hour. I brought my tripod, but that's just going to be to steady my hand if something interesting does go by. But my autumn migration has started. There's a lot of wheat here and windchat appearing all over the place. Over at All Marshes, where I was the other day, several. I just literally missed them by a day. But there have been windchats here. So I'm going to do a little scout here, and if I don't get a good feel of it, I'm just going to carry on to Dover Castle, where the Choughs have been spotted. All I'm seeing at the moment, I don't think I'm going to stay here. It's very, very windy. It's actually strange because it's in the low 20s here. It's good to come to the coast in this heat because it's just like, it's noticeably cooler because of the air coming off the sea. Well, I was going to go to Dungeness, but the wind is up at like 20 miles an hour. So we're just going to stick to Dover and maybe go up towards Deal, which is further onto the Kent coast in the east. So all at the moment, I'm only seeing herring gulls. I don't see anything out at sea. I'd be looking for divers and things like that. Something, let me just check. I've got my little bins and I think those, it's a darker bird. It's probably just like a juvenile herring gull further out. Be great to see, some sort of skuas and any kind of scoters and things like that, seabirds. I'm just scanning the horizon with my little bins just to check if anything's going by. But photography in this weather is going to be very difficult. It's very windy. But like I said, I'm not getting a good feeling for it right now. I don't see any little birds anywhere. I told my wife she's come down with me. She's going to do some phone stuff and some catching up with the family. And I'm just going to run around and see what's going on. But see if I see any windchats. I think it's just too windy for birds here. What I'll do is I'm going to make my way back over the mound. There's a area of the country park further back, and there might be something in there that's it's a bit more protected from the wind in there. I'll just take another scan of the sea here. There's definitely nothing else out there flying by, but it is a beautiful day. It is slightly chilly, very slightly chilly. I'm down to my shorts, and I tell you what, in a couple of hours, this is going to be a bit too cold to walk in. I will have to. Oh, hang on, we have got our first bit of action. What's that? Come on, camera, get focused quicker. Oh, we got a meadow pipit. Just having a little bit of struggle holding it still. It's a juvenile. What I might end up doing with these is I should be really... I filmed in 60 frames a second, and I'll be able to slow that down. It's very, very windy. I'm lucky I did bring my tripod, so I've got something to rest on. So it's on a post this year. It's a little meadow pipit on a post here. So this could be a hot spot for birds landing. It's still there. I'll try and film it again, because what I'll do is obviously I'll put this. You'll see this footage. If I have enough today for a vlog, then you'll get to see this. Okay, let's go slow-mo, because I cannot hold this. What will happen with the slow-mo, because it's 120 frames a second, it'll be a lot more steady. Okay, so what I was doing there was I was filming with distant birds. You've heard me speak about my 4K crop again. That gives me 2318 millimeters. I had to come out of that because I can't do slow-mo in that mode. So it won't fill the frame as much, but the 120 frames per second will be much slower, and it will smooth the blur, the motion of me moving around in the wind. Yeah, still there. So it's like 20 feet away from me. So I'm hoping if I walk around this, as my wife is just here, and I say, look, honey. So it's not much happy. It's very windy, but there's a meadow pipit up there. So that's just a little thing. I'm going to go just wander around there and see if anything that's hidden from the wind is on the post. On the other side of the... But if we do leave from here, I have to take all my bag and that. I'll just have a quick walk around. And if I do think it's worth staying, I think we have to pay car parking. I'm just doing my podcast at the moment. And I'm giving everybody a sense of what's going on here. I've spoken, I have to give, when you're doing a podcast, you have to give everybody a sense of what's going on. I told them about the traffic and the White Cliffs, and it's amazing. But it's amazing. I'd say in 2 hours standing over there, it'll be too cold for you. It's that breezy. Yeah. So I'm just gonna, if you want to stick here a minute, I'll go around the back. Yeah, I won't be long. I'll have a quick scan. I'll tell you if it's worth going out any further. Yes, I can take the breeze a little bit better than my wife. She doesn't like the breeze, so I'll just put up with it. But there's a sort of cordoned off area. If you're looking towards the cliffs inland, there's a cordoned off area on the left with, it is barbed wire and fences. And there might be, that obviously will be an aerial, but there are no dogs and people. So the birds are more likely to be over there because they won't be disturbed. So I'm going to try and see how close how I can follow this fence around and see if there's anything closer to the cliffs. Yeah, the breeze is really dropping now as I walk around the back. So, I'm just walking past. There's a little, is it a cafe? Yeah, refreshments, toilets. I haven't paid any parking yet because we might not stay here. Let me see, up to 30 minutes, 50p, that's not bad. So the parking here is 50p for 30 minutes and up to 2 hours, £1. More than 2 hours, £2. No drone zone, it says here. So if you're thinking of coming there and using a drone, nope. Rebels coffee, ice cream, refreshments kiosk is closed until further notice. Right, okay. Have they screwed? Oh, I was going to say, it looks open. Let me just have a look and say. Oh no, it's just some sort of teaching centre. That's no. There's the kiosk is closed, but there's a little Rebels coffee trailer on the back of a truck that's serving coffee. Okay, good. So they do have stuff here if you want it. I wonder if they've worked out some deal. Right, so that area I spoke about that's cordoned off with barbed wire, there is a gate that goes into it, so it's not fully cut off to the public. I've just gone round to have a look. I'm not familiar with this area. I think I came here in winter once and there was nothing much happening. I'm only kind of familiar with this place when other birders that get out more than I do, they come here and they spot birds and they're usually quite distant. They're never usually frame filling or anything like that. So if I've come here in the past, there's a brief stop just to see what's happening, if there's anything worth noting. Right, I've just come up to the gate. I'm not going to go in. There's a dog poop box there. Sorry, if you need to know that. Yeah, apart from that meadow pipit, there's nothing else. I've just seen a magpie. And we're going to get right up close to the cliffs and see what happens, if there's anything over there out of the wind. Yeah, because I checked the bird guides. That's the reason we've stopped here as well, because we go past here to get to Dover Castles to see the Choughs. And I thought, well, it's got to be worth a stop. And on bird guides, a winchat was spotted. And I thought, why not give it a little stop? Again, I've just seen something flick over there. I was just put my bins up to look at something on the top of a bush that I knew was going to be a bit of plant, but something flicked past my lens. So there are things jumping around back there that might be worth it. I just warn you again, I only do a vlog if there's enough for a vlog, an actual YouTube, one of my YouTube channel, Stormcloud Birds, exactly the same name. Whereas if there's enough for a vlog, that's video and me talking, and so you get both the best of both worlds, photos and video. I'll do a corresponding one. Otherwise, it's just good to do the podcasts, and I can just talk you through what I'm seeing. And we'll go around the back there. Let's see if we can find where that bird was. Darkish, could be a dunnock, could be a windchat. Anything else to bring you up to speed on? Yeah, just I've put oh no, that's a gull. I thought there might be a raptor flying up against the cliffs there. Yeah, go check out my YouTube channel. I've just put up some water rail, nearly 8 minutes of water rail footage, which is incredible, from all the other day. Nice frame filling stuff. I was having a bath and a barn owl hunt, which was about 5 minutes long. And it ended with, I think it's a little vole it's caught. And I think that's what I'm going to start doing now, where I used to film footage and put maybe, sometimes it could be up to 4 or 5 minutes. And I'd only put 20 seconds in the vlog, which is a shame. I'm actually going to just start putting up pure bird footage. And at the moment, I've said this, and I think I said this in one of the previous podcasts or vlogs, they don't pay much for just pure animal footage. Where I might get sort of $5 to $8 per 1,000 views on a vlog or something, they might only give me $1.50 for bird footage. And not as many people look at the bird footage usually. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonetize any bird footage so you can just view it and not be interrupted with ads, and I'll just take the hit. Oh, there is something up there. That is, I think we might be in luck. Something not your usual. Hold on, let me get the camera. Oh no, let's go 4K crop. Right, it's waiting there for me. I think that's a a stone chat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a. So I couldn't. What is that? Can you hear that? Is that a kid or is that a bird? Wow. That sounded like something being attacked or grabbed or predated. But was it a person? Was it a kid, or was it something in these? I'm right underneath the cliffs looking up, and there's nobody around here. But the bird I just saw, I only literally just got my camera on it for a couple of seconds and really shaking this wind. But I'm sure that was a stone chat. All right, let's go and see if there's something obvious what this screaming was. I'm sure you heard that. The mic picked it up. Nope, I can't see anything in there. It's there's a fence maybe with the cliffs. What are we talking about? 20 meters back. So if anything does roll down, you can hear it. Anything does roll down, you're completely protected. It's a beautiful sight. It's amazing, yeah. I can see there are a little cave, just a couple tiny holes where there's a cave. I'm looking right up at them now. And the grass, the long grass going up the side in between the chalk is being blown in the wind, and it almost looks like a dune, like a sand dune, sand being blown in the wind. And you can see, what was that? Something just, what was that? There is something up there. That's got to be a kestrel. Yeah, I'm sure it's a, I need to get high. It's hovering right at the top of the cliff, about 10 feet from the cliff. I'm going to use this post on the left here to try and steady my arm. But I'm sure on my previous experiences that is a kestrel. Sorry, I'm back with you. Yeah, you won't know this, but if I film for a second, I have to hold my breath or not talk, because talking makes the footage even more shaky. It was a kestrel. Is that another one? What's that? There's another bird at the top of the cliff. So they could, yeah, it looks like another kestrel. So they must be hunting in pairs. I've taken a little bit of footage, and there might be a decent bit for a vlog. What I'll use it as, some people might say, why would you even bother with that? Well, seeing as I'm doing vlogs, then it's usable because it becomes a record. And you know what? That's a blackbird. And I'm going to film these just in case one of them is a chough. That blackbird just came off the cliff and went back down. I can't see where it's gone. But I've got to film, I've got to check every blackbird now to see if they've got the red beak. And I had a listen on YouTube because I can't say I'm familiar with the song. I did get them about 4 years ago in Wales. And it caught my ear because I was like, what's that? It made me spin around. And they're pretty much, it sounds quite identical to jackdaws. And they are, they're in the same sort of family, red bill. But I was going to say they sound a mix between sort of a jackdaw, a starling and a crow. But I think, we'll go with jackdaw for a similar sound. So if I hear that, my head will spin round. There's just there's a lot of goals here, but I'm trying to get into the habit of not discounting anything because that's the biggest mistake you can make. Definitely those are 4 herring gulls coming up behind me. Yeah, checking everything. But there's definitely stuff using these cliffs for cover. But that blackbird, I don't know where it went. I went onto AI and a couple of sites and I said, what's my best bet for finding the choughs? And they said there isn't really. You have to be lucky. There's no guarantee. They could be anywhere along the Kent coast in the vicinity of Dover. Okay, no, I think we're good here. There's nothing too obvious, and I did really come here for the choughs. So we're going to stick with that. We're just finishing off the Samphire hoe. So I just found some facts. I'm not going to lie and pretend that I knew this. But the reclaimed land here is material from when they dug out the Channel Tunnel. Amazing. 30 hectares has been reclaimed. This was back in 1990, and now it's cyclists, angling, photography, walking, parking. Yeah, just amazing, beautiful. Country park is beautiful. And the samphire comes from the plant that grows in this area on the cliffs. I've actually been looking for some to photograph. I can't find it, but I didn't know you could actually eat it. The Marks and Spencer sell it. So if I can't find a picture of it, I'll just use an image from their website. I'll be giving them some promotion. I won't be stealing an image. I'll just use it as a reference point. But I can't find it. I've had a good look. And so they've got the samphire, and then the hoe is the word for heel. So there it is. There's your samphire hoe. And at this point, I never thought I'd get into plants, but here I am looking for plants. I'm just walking along the road here while my wife buys an ice cream, looking for these things that look like green fingers, some sort of asparagus in the images. And then when I was doing my vlog, so I'm actually I think I've got the startings of a vlog, seeing as I've seen a stone chat and kestrel and a few other bits, and I've got some other bits to go. And I want to film, I want to show people what this area looks like, because I want to be reminded next time I come. I come here so infrequently. But while I was filming the vlog on the waterfront, a big grey seal popped up, big white whiskers. And my wife was back sitting on the sea where I had to shout her over. And by the time she got there, it had gone down. And we waited for about 5 minutes. And I always say that my experience is that the seals hold their breath about 5 minutes. And sure enough, it came up a bit further east. But it's getting hot now. We need to move on. So we could have gone for a walk along there, but it is very hot and windy. So a grey seal, it's all going to be windy. I apologise when you go and see the corresponding vlog footage. Everything's windy. There's no keepers today in this wind and this intense heat. Maybe when we get inland and it gets, the wind dies down at the end of the day, we'll get some keepers. But so far, it's a nice little day out. We didn't come out till later. I'm going to have the night off work and, put together any vlog or podcast stuff. But check in every bird. I'm looking at herring gull, black-headed gull, cormorants in the water, magpies, kestrels. So just some linnets going over. Those are the kind of smaller birds apart from that meadow pipit that I saw earlier. That's it. So we're gonna pack up now. Like I said, wife's just picking up an ice cream, and we'll move on to the castle and the surrounding areas. There's been a pied flycatcher spotted at St Mary's Cliff. So if we do drive up the coast, we'll swing by there and have a look if it's obvious. I've heard of this place before. I think it's called Brock Hill Farm or something like that. Now, I don't know if that means it's a farm how did people get there? Do you have to view it from a path so you can't drive, or can you drive to the area? That's just the name of the area. So that's a new place I'm going to have to explore for the future. So I know if somebody mentions it, I know I can access it in a cab or in my car on foot. Just one more glance. Yeah, keep them peeled, because that's how I spotted the seal. Always be looking around you. Yes. So podcast. Now we're just driving around. We picked up some food, driving around Dover Castle. I don't know how it worked here, but it is a English heritage location. So it's they want the extortionate amount of £38 per person, or it's obviously to get you to join up per month or year, and it's much cheaper. So the yearly joint membership's £144. We took it out once to get into a place just for the month, and we cancelled it after 6 months because we just weren't using it. But yeah, at the gate you could literally go online, take out a joint membership for the month for £12 and go in. But that's what they want you to do. And so I thought, well, they're birds. They're not necessarily in the castle. They could be flying anywhere. So I've been observing the castle from a distance, trying to see if there's anything flying. There are some blackbirds. I can't, because of the heat haze, I can't get a good view of them. So I think they're jackdaws. And what I did is I went onto X, Twitter. Now, if anybody's seen them, even tourists, they would have taken pictures. So what I did was I typed in Choughs or Chough and Dover, and nothing's come up except the headlines of the recent juvenile chick being born. So I'm currently on where am I? I'm just looking at the map in my head. We're just east in a car park in the east. And I just got out of the cab to look at a bird. There are a lot of influx of willow warblers. So I think one flew into a bush. I've been looking for it. And when I looked up, I saw something in the shape of a swift, but it was too big for a swift. And for a second I thought, is it kestrel? But of course it was a peregrine falcon. I just snapped some record photos. They will go in the vlog. And I think that's a female, very big bird. And there's no streaks on the chest. So I think it's a female peregrine. I'm trying to think if anybody on the Facebook group posts them regularly for me. I think they do. But so far, you can just hear the gulls, the herring gulls. And I've just walked up the road of this car park on the east side to see if I can see if it is a willow warbler. Something tells me they're going to be here. I see them flying into the bushes, and I'm just looking if one drops his guard and head pops out. But what we're going to do is we're going to go for a drive up to St Margaret's Cliff and have a look for this pied flycatcher. And I say we never keep sight. Oh, there's a bird. I just saw a small bird come off of the mound to the castle and go into a bush. I'm just going to see if it shows it, whatever it was, shows itself. But we'll go and look for the pied flycatcher. We don't have any hopes. If we get things, we get things. Sometimes, it's about 50% of we get the thing we want, and then sometimes we don't, but we get another surprise. And that's the fun of this hobby. The area that this other bird that got me out of the cab where's one into? I haven't seen it. I saw some tree branches and leaves moving, and they've stopped now. So whatever it is, it's gone deep somewhere. And then I've just seen something flying here. There's definitely, I can hear robins and chaffinch. There's something flying up there. It's probably a pigeon. Chiffchaff. I can hear chiffchaff, robins. And what's that flying over my head? Oh, something just went in there. That's got to be a blackbird. Oh, there's a blue tit. Yeah. There's something bigger just flew into the tree in front of me. I'm trying to see what it is. I think it had an orange bill. Certainly not big enough for a chough. I wonder if anybody has used the word chuff to bits for a chuff video, if I'm going to be the first person. I'm going to have to do it, aren't I? Come on, give me that. I'm going to have to call my video chuff to bits. Nobody outside the UK will understand what it is, what the chuffed is. What does it mean, chuffed? What's that? It basically means it's a colloquial, get that word correct, term. I think it's used all over the UK as chuffed. In America, what would you say? I don't know. But over here, you could say well happy, chuffed to bits. I'm trying to think of I'm going through all the American films in my head of what they would use as an example. No, okay. But yeah, peregrine was good. I've got it set. I've just got my flight settings for anything flying over my head. I just have one more glance around there. Oh, hang on. No, they pigeons? I think these are pigeons. Oh, there's a jackdaw. and I'm on photos. I think that's a jackdaw. I can see this. Yeah, it's a jackdaw, silverhead. I've got to check every blackbird. That's actually not a bad photo, actually. What was that? Yeah, there's a lot of what we're playing, shadow games. You just get this shadow go over, and there's a bird passing between you and the sun. There's a wood pigeon. Yeah, can you imagine? Can you imagine if I got the peregrine catching a chough? I think that'd be bad for the choughs. Yeah, I took a picture of. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to talk about that because it could upset some people. Let's leave that alone. That little story. I'll talk about that thing in private. If you ever speak to me in private, ask me what I was about to say, and I'll tell you. But I can't broadcast it. I put it up. I told a local group about it, and they said, "Don't you dare post that live and let people know because we've already got trouble from those people." But I'll tell you privately what I saw and what I captured. Right, this is awesome. We've just stopped at this gate, which has got a couple of monuments outside for the Royal Flying Corps, and there are two pylons on the left. And we just stopped here for a moment just to have a look because there are a lot of cattle on the left inland. And I'm sure with cattle, you're going to get some sort of birds. So we're checking here for the choughs. And we just pulled over. I was just having a little munch on something and saw a bird on the ground. It was a meadow pipit, so I just got a bit of record of that. And as I was sitting there, I could see the top of a post in the distance. Something, it was out of shape compared to the other ones. I got my camera on it. And I just, as soon as it was distant, but I could tell immediately it was going to be a wheat. I just had a funny feeling it was going to be a wheatear. And so I'm just checking, there's like a flock of birds that's just gone up over there, right in the distance. I'm trying to see if that's anything of interest. Those look like pigeons. Could be jackdaws or pigeons. But anyway, I'm saying there could be about 6 or 7 wheatear. So if you check the vlog, that's a goldfinch. What I'm having to do is kneel right down because I cannot, this wind is incredible. I can't fight it. But if I'm kneeling down and resting the camera on a barbed wire. And so there's a goldfinch. I'm just going to film that. On the ground, yeah. This is good. A nice little bit of just something to bulk up the vlog. I'm filming it right now. It's just going around picking insects off the ground. And somebody just shouted and scared it off. You heard that. There are planks everywhere. In the UK, that's not a sweary term of calling somebody a nasty name. I don't know what was the point of that. But you get that as a bird watcher. You're sticking your lens somewhere and pointing at something. And somebody, when I was filming the peregrine falcons, a lot of the audio had to be bleeped out because people were like, "Oh, film me, take a picture of me." It's like, oh, for God's sake, or what you filming? Or go and film somewhere more interesting. It was like they thought I was filming the building or something. So this is what you got to put up with, and you got to just let it slide as a bird watcher. But at the moment, yeah, I've got some I've got them on the far post, the wheatear, but a couple of them did fly in and land pretty close. And with my 4K crop, I got better than you could do with most other lenses and cameras. Forget having a 500 prime on a full frame. You wouldn't have got anywhere near this, I'm afraid. The debate rages online with, people telling me I should get the 100 to 500 Canon, that it's the sharper lens. Yeah, it's the sharper lens if you can get closer, but ultimately you're not beating 800 millimeters on a crop sensor. I'm sorry. I've just seen somebody post images of something I've taken recently. I know they have a full frame camera and a 500 prime, and the images cropped in are awful compared to mine. So you might have a sharper lens if the image is closer, if the bird is closer, but birds are never close enough that they're filling the frame with a full frame sensor. So I'm winning there. The 800 is all I'm going to be using. Nobody's convincing me otherwise. Yeah, I just had a little bit of a scuffle from the wheatear, so that was good. I just caught that. But they're flying. They're flying in from different parts of the roads around me and the fields behind me. There's another one. Wow, there's got to be a dozen then. This is incredible. Yep, straight over to, they're flying over to the field beyond. But I just had one, that's got to be a skylark. I can hear that raspy skylarky sound. Just looking through my lens at something over there and some things poking out. Oh, those look like bits of metal. Get my words out. That's really exciting. Yeah, I'm chuffed to bits with that, even though I didn't get my chuff. I'm just going to have a look over the other side of the road to see if anything is obvious over here. Yeah, you can see France so clearly. Is that that looks like a military, maybe checking for border crossings, illegals, that is. Yeah, some sort of military, marine, big grey, it's a grey military looking vehicle, boat. Yeah, this is exciting. So there could be anything else with those wheat here. I don't see any male, they all look like female. Now, just into the hide at Sandwich Bay, and it's actually pretty active. I thought it'd be quite quiet. There's nobody else here, so we've had a little touch. We were hoping for some barn owl action near the end of the night, so we've just come to these hides, the two hides. These, which were the western one, you have to get to really because it means the sun is on the right side of the birds. We just went to the first one, if you're familiar, and yeah, the light is awful. It's right behind the birds, so you've got to get to the furthermost one. I mean, yes, it is mostly mallards. And there's I believe it's called a Duclair. It's another domesticated species that's got a kind of white neck. If you look at the vlog, I'll put it in the vlog, and it must be something to do with a French domesticated duck. There's one of those over there. Lots of coots and more hens. There's about probably 2 or 3 common sandpipers. I believe one of these might be a juvenile, the fluffed up one, when you look at the footage in the vlog. At least 2. I'm not hearing anything unusual. I did film a little grebe preening for a couple of minutes. And what I'm going to get into the habit of doing is putting just clips of birds, 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minutes of pure bird footage up, just so you can watch and look at the bird species and their behavior, not include it in any, well, I mean, I might put 20 or 30 seconds in of one of the vlogs, but the pure footage I'll put up on its own. So at the moment, I'm just scanning the back posts because I watch the Kent Birding group on Facebook, and then occasionally get little owls here, sparrowhawks, barn owls, and peregrines. Hoping for one of those. Maybe we'll get lucky with a barn owl. But it's just a very pleasant end to the day where we went into some of the beach resorts, Deal, and things like that. It was really, really busy, and we just didn't fancy it. And you can hear, there's nobody else here. I'll see how the microphone, I'll stop talking for a few seconds and just let you hear if the ducks are making a noise loud enough for you to pick up. I don't know if I'll include these pictures, but I broke out the dot sight to try for the swallows and sand martins, and it really did catch them, but they might not be close enough that when I crop in that they'll have enough detail to keep. But I'll see when I get back. I won't know until I get back home how good a quality they are. But the dot sight was really catching them. The building near the, sorry, what was that? It's something, everything jumped off one of the islands. The golf centre over there, in front of the hide, and the other buildings, the sand martin are congregating on the top. So there must be a lot of insects coming out of there. But I did see some whitethroat flicking between the bushes, and common linnets. But the wind has dropped down on this side. I noticed the water outside on Deal was much more calm than where we first started off down in Dover. I didn't bring my geared tripod head. I did bring my tripod, but not the geared head, because what I found with hides is the wood does move in the wind. It's just almost every hide I've been in, it's not even worth putting up a tripod to film, because it does move around. It's really strange. But outside I did see a lapwing. Oh yeah, I filmed some grey partridge. Now they are the more unusual ones. Usually you see the red-legged. I got them, they were backlit. They were trying to hide from me and they were distant. I got a little flight footage as they took off. But they're rare. They're always here. They're good for that over this way. And there were some hares running around. And of course, we've not seen the choughs. I've been checking every blackbird I come across, and they've all been jackdaws or crows or rooks. So there you go. Other than that, I'll get back to you and let you know if we have any luck with the barn owls near the end of the day. That's a wrap, folks. The sun has just gone down and we were hoping for some last minute barn owl action. Didn't happen, but we did get some raptor action. I didn't film it, but when we got out of the hides, I heard a call that I wasn't quite familiar with. I know I've heard it before, and it was a sparrowhawk, and I just checked it with Merlin, and Merlin confirmed it was a sparrowhawk. So it must be nesting in the trees just north of the hides. But when I came out of the hide, I noticed one of the posts to the right of me was longer than the others, and I checked on it, and it was a common buzzard. So I stuck to my rules. My rule is you film it handheld first, and then I went to set up the tripod. So I filmed it for 10-15 seconds, and sure enough, once I started setting the side tripod up, it flew off. But I got a bit of it further up, and it was a kind of, I don't know, it's like mixture of light and dark morph, bits of white, bits of brown, bits of black. So that was nice to see. I heard another one calling, but I just couldn't find it. It was probably behind some of the trees on the north side of the hides. And then we came out onto the road, which was where we were hoping to see anything. I checked Facebook, Kent Birding. The last thing was seen here was way back in late July. There's a little owl. So people do come here, and there haven't been any reports of anything outstanding. But this is the second hotspot in Kent for the short-eared owls coming up in winter soon. So looking forward to that again. But anyway, back onto the road, and I saw a kestrel backlit in a tree up the top. And I went to set up the camera, and it kind of like casually flew in my direction, then went down into some bushes. And it was very casual, and I thought, okay, it's gone. So just moved slightly further ahead, and in a gap between the two trees, I could see it was on a post and it was feeding. So I got my camera on it, and it looks like some sort of huge bug of some type, some sort of grasshopper. And I don't think it's enjoying it. I think it's one of those foods where they eat them, but they don't like the taste of them. It looked like it wasn't. If it was a mouse or a vole, you'd see it be tearing away at it really enthusiastically, but it wasn't. And I filmed about a minute of it, and on the second filming, the third, when I went to go for a third round, whatever it was had gone. So I'd maybe taken a few bits and just kicked it off the post, because it was a big lump of insect and it was gone. So I think it just had some bits of it, and it was like, yeah, I can't take this. We further down again, and with the sun so low, I got the grey partridge that are always by the roadside. I got them in much better lighting. You'll see all this in the vlog. So I am going to be making a vlog. There's enough in this for a sort of vlog. Not going to be the most outstanding, but wheat ears and the kestrel eating the insects and the little grebe, and there's a few bits and pieces in there worth keeping. And I think, yeah, that's a roundup. There's nothing else going on. A barn owl could come out now, but there's no light. So I hope you enjoyed, folks. And yeah, I'm on all the platforms. Whatever platform you're listening on, please go on and give me a rating, because I don't see any ratings coming up, and that will help me sort of boost my numbers. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.